welcome back to our channel, Sarah and Chance Worldwide. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Chance.
So as a couple that travels together all the time, we just wanted to come here together and give you guys some tips on how to incorporate travel into your relationship also, but in a healthy way.
And give you some insight on some issues you may run into along the way. So we're back up here in the mountains. We figured since it's nice out, we might as well get out and see the mountains as much as possible this year. We're just gonna keep doing these kinds of vlog style videos where we go out into nature so we can show you guys what it's like living in Colorado. First, I wanna show you this view. It's amazing. Just look at this. Okay, so firstly, let's talk about all the benefits there are to be had traveling as a couple.
Yeah, it really is awesome. It helps your relationship grow so strong. It helps you grow individually as well, in my opinion, just experiencing those crazy new adventures every day. It's also really a lot better financially because you get to split the costs of everything that you do, so that helps. And then having that opportunity to save money together as a couple is also, I think, really formative for your relationship if you eventually want to get married to that person.
I agree. Being able to split the budget between two people instead of one person alone is a huge help, and it'll help you be able to do way more things than you could by yourself. Not only that aspect, but being able to experience all these things with somebody else and having someone to share the stories with is one of my favorite things about traveling as a couple. So you decided you want to start traveling with your significant other. The first thing you're going to want to do is sit down and talk about your traveling styles and establish what kind of traveler you are and communicate with your partner on what kind of traveler they are, so that way if your styles differ, you can make a compromise before you even get started.
Yeah, like for instance, if your partner is the kind of person who likes to stick to a really strict itinerary that you create before your trip, and you are more the kind of adventurous person who likes to take things day by day, then you're going to want to know that before you're overseas together or even on a road trip together. You're going to want to know that that difference exists so that you can make sure that you can meet in the middle with them.
Hand in hand with that, you're going to want to make sure at the end of the day, after you've done everything, you got home, you talk about what you're going to do the next day before you go to bed, so that way you're not going to bed with expectations and then waking up and then they're all of a sudden completely different. So you're on the same page right when you wake up, ready to go and take on the next day together.
So another thing you're going to want to talk about with your significant other before you start traveling together is what you intend to do financially. So assuming that your finances are not together at this point, you're going to need to establish whether it's going to be a 50-50 split down the middle for all of the cost of your flights and your accommodations and your gas and your attractions, like all of the things that you have to pay for. You don't want to show up and not know the plan and one person end up feeling like they're kind of carrying the weight of the other. If your money is all together, it'll be a lot easier for you, obviously. But until it is, you're going to want to make sure that you talk a lot about that.
So you're going to want to make sure you communicate how much you're saving, how much your end goal is to have saved before your trip. And then once your trip starts, you're going to want to talk about daily budgets and how you're going to split that between each other. Say one day I want to go out and just go to arcades and spend a bunch of money at arcades, which I
really realistic.
do a lot of. We have to make sure that Sarah doesn't feel left out, or like she wants to do something that costs a lot of money the next day. I'm not going to be upset because I spent my money and my time at the arcades. It's a give and take.
Exactly. We just always make sure that there's balance between us while we're traveling and in daily life. I think that kind of applies to everything, but yeah, especially on vacation, just make sure that one person isn't feeling left out of the plans or left out of the money.
Another thing you're going to want to make sure you establish before your trip is your roles in planning your trip. You're going to want to make sure, like say I'm more of a budgeter and kind of I guess I'm the numbers guy.
Yeah.
I will crunch numbers all the time to make sure our budget's okay and how much we're gonna have each day, and we're on track every single day to make sure that our trip goes smoothly.
Yeah, when we're traveling, I literally never have to think about the money. It's all Chance. He does everything to do with our daily budget, with our saving, with what's left over. He does every single thing. So I don't worry about that. And to balance it out, a lot of times I'm the one that chooses our itinerary. We're not strict itinerary people at all, but we do like to have a general idea of what area we're going to travel to, where we're going to be, the things we want to see, and how much time we need to allot for those things. And I always do end up planning those things for us. So like before our trip, I'll make a list of all the things we want to do and see while we're in the country, and then day to day also I will make sure that we're staying on top of time and staying on top of all of the different attractions that we plan to see for that day. Another thing Chance does is he always handles the directions when we're traveling, so he always has Google Maps out and is making sure we're not getting lost and getting us to where we need to be all the time, so that's really great too.
Navigator, budgeter, snacker.
So yeah, like you don't have to have roles, I guess, but it does really make it a lot easier to communicate that beforehand so that one person doesn't end up, I mean, I'm not saying that someone doesn't want the lead, but you want to make sure that someone wants the lead before you hand that to them. Don't assume that you don't need to help with those things.
It's a super annoying noise, so we're gonna go figure it out.
Oh,
That's one of them.
At the tree.
The other one's back there at the tree. Can't really see him. So something that's really important to keep in mind when you're talking about your roles and taking leadership on these roles is to make sure you don't blame the other person when something goes wrong, because things are going to go wrong. That's part of life.
We all make mistakes. We make lots of mistakes while we're traveling in a new country and have no idea what we're doing, and sometimes it's really hard to not get frustrated with each other about things that go wrong or don't go according to plan. But yeah, it's really important to remember that we're both trying our best and that we're a team, and to not get frustrated or angry about that.
So the last bit of advice we want to include is communicating your issues as soon as they happen and not letting them build up. That way you don't let all this anger and frustration kind of bottle up inside of you until it explodes and you end up hurting somebody when you could have just talked about it in the first place and set things straight.
Yeah, so inevitably in every relationship you get upset with each other and you do things to annoy each other every once in a while. And so yeah, it's really important to just make sure that you communicate about that all the time really openly, and not to ever let it really bother you that much. If something that your partner is doing is upsetting you, talk about it, and if they don't change it, that's the problem.
So on our very first trip to Japan, we went to a restaurant kind of late at night. We hadn't really eaten. We had walked forever to find this restaurant. We finally sit down, and
it was my job to order that time. Like, we kind of split that responsibility since it's not English speaking, so it's hard.
So we sit down and order, and Sarah orders for me, and I really wanted the specific cake.
He wanted the pistachio cake.
And she ordered some other cake that I really didn't want to have at all. And instead of talking about it, I just got upset and didn't talk to her, basically. And that led her to get really upset because she didn't know why I was upset, and just kind of spiral out of control over a piece of cake. It makes no sense.
So that was our dumbest fight. I don't think we've ever had an argument or a fight on vacation since then.
Don't mess with my cake.
Yeah, I guess not. Chocolate was not the right one. So we were wondering what your stupidest fight you've ever had with a significant other was. We want to hear your story too. Leave that in the comment below.
Make me feel better about getting angry over cake, please.
You got better.
It was just cake. I mean, it's pretty important to me.
That was young Chance.
Basically what we wanted to make this video show you was that traveling with a partner is way more fun than it is extra work. Like, when you're by yourself, you can do whatever you want, but if you're with the right partner, you can do whatever you want and more, because they will inspire you to do more and get out of your comfort zone and explore.
Yeah, sharing your travels with the person you love is always more fun than doing it alone, in my opinion. But just make sure you keep these things in mind, that it does require a little bit of work on your end just to make sure both of your needs are being met. While you're traveling, you don't want to make the other feel left out or less important in any way. And as long as you have open communication about all of these things that we just talked about, then you should have the best time ever.
I really hope that after watching this video, you feel like you really want to talk to your significant other, your partner, anybody that wants to travel as well, and can plan a trip with them with confidence.
So yeah, if this video helped you at all, if this video inspired you, please don't forget to give us that thumbs up. Really helps us out. Don't forget to subscribe for more Japan content, travel content, cute content, who knows what, whatever we give you. So yeah, hit that subscribe button.
Make sure you hit the bell so you can get notified every single time we post. Otherwise, you might miss it, and we don't want that. You don't want that.
You don't want that. So yeah, thank you so much for watching.